Hello, this lecture will be over World War I and the United States' involvement in the war. This war is fought from July 1914 to November 11th, 1918. Our module objective is that we will analyze the context of the United States' involvement in World War I and draw conclusions about how the war impacted American society. When we are looking at World War I and the causes of this war, it is important to look at the acronym of MAINS. MAINS stands for militarism, alliances, imperialism, nationalism, and the spark. So, when looking at these causes, we're going to start off with militarism and define what militarism is. Militarism is the massive buildup of new weapons due to industrializations. Alliances is that countries offer protection by signing mutual defense agreements to offer this protection to each other, right? Okay, so if something were to happen, such as a war, you would be pulled to defend that other country. Now, this is actually meant to stop wars and making sure that they have agreements between each other, these countries. But what it will do with World War I is that's going to pull almost all of Europe into this war. The third one is imperialism, which is a review from our last module. Imperialism, just to cut it short, it is the conquering of foreign territories for resources, which cause many wars. This is going to lead to high competition between different countries. Nationalism is the pride in your nation to the point where you believe your nation is actually superior to all others. And the spark is that one event that caused all this blow up in the global war, which is, in this case, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. This picture is painting depicts that assassination. That assassination will lead to Austria-Hungary declaring war on Serbia. When we are looking at World War I, it's important to know what countries are involved in World War I. So on the Central Powers, we've got them here and highlighted in red. That is going to be made up by Italy, Austria-Hungary, Germany, and the Ottoman Empire. Now, on the Allied power side, we have Bulgaria/Serbia, Russia, France, Britain, and eventually the United States. Now, the United States does not automatically join the war. It actually takes several years for the United States to join World War I, or the Great War, as it is also known. The United States did not first join the war because of the fact that they were taking an isolationist view on this war. They wanted to remain neutral and not take a side. They did not feel like it was their war to fight, it was a foreign war. That is what the United States will be doing until 1917. So you might be wondering, what led to America joining the war then? Well, there are two events that we will be looking at that caused the United States to join the war, and that is going to be the Lusitania and the Zimmermann telegram. The Lusitania, what happens is that the Lusitania is a passenger ship that is sunk by a German U-boat in 1915. Germany declared the waters surrounding the British Isles a war zone, and they stopped following international naval prize laws. So when the Lusitania was passing, the German U-boat submarine sank them with no warning. And on that boat, there was 1,195 people, including 128 Americans. The United States then warned Germany that they would cut diplomatic ties with them and declare war on them if they sank any more passenger ships. Germany announced then in September 1915 that they would no longer sink any passenger ships. The United States will take Germany's word and they will not join the war because of that then. However, then in 1917, British intelligence intercepts this coded telegram known as the Zimmermann telegram that is from Germany to Mexico. In that telegram, Germany is stating that they will sink all ships in the war zone. They also propose a secret alliance between them and Mexico, Germany and Mexico, in the event that the United States joins the war. Because of this will drive then President Wilson to call up a special joint session of Congress, and they will declare war on Germany on April 6, 1917. So the United States will officially join World War I. So how was the home front involved in the war? Okay, how did the United States do their part in World War I? That is going to be done through bonds, service, and rationing. So what bonds are is that they are debt security issued by the government to finance military operations and production during the war. Citizens saw their purchase as a civic duty. Okay, like for example, here we have a poster that is asking Americans to buy these Liberty bonds. They're saying, our daddy's fighting at the front for you, back him up, buy a United States government bond of the Liberty loan. So the way you could help get their dad back and support their dad is by buying a war bond. Another way that the United States was involved, the home front was involved, was through the Selective Service Act. Congress passed laws to encourage men to join the Army, one of which is going to be the draft. The draft will sign up all men between 21 to 30 and eventually be extended to include men from the ages of 18 to 45. 24 million American men will sign up for the draft, and 4.7 million men will serve in World War I. The third one that we are looking at is food rationing. So when you ration food, you are limiting your food. Okay, the Food Administration is set up to make sure troops had enough food on the front lines. So what that meant then for the home front is that you are going to waste nothing. Okay, you're going to be limited in your food, so you better not waste anything. You're going to grow food in gardens called victory gardens, and you're going to go without some food. Okay, so there's going to be introduction of meatless Mondays and wheatless Wednesdays. And this poster, we can see, it says like, okay, eat more corns, oats, and rye products, fish, and poultry. Those are items that cannot be sent to the men. So what you could do then is that you could eat less wheat, meat, sugar, and fats. And it says to save for the army and our allies. So those are going to be sent to the men fighting in the war. These three posters are all a form of propaganda. You might be wondering, what the heck is propaganda? Well, propaganda is the spread of ideas for the purpose of supporting or hurting a cause. Here we are seeing it in support of World War I. The Committee on Public Information will be created during this time, and what that does is that it is created to make people support the war. It is also, they figure out a way that the easiest way for government to communicate with people and spread their message was through the use of propaganda posters. This is before the time of radio, television, social media. So they had to create these posters then to be able to speak to Americans. Okay? And that is why in your activity, you will be analyzing some of the different propaganda posters that were utilized during World War I. We are going to be looking at the end of the Great War next. So armistice is reached on November 11th, 1918. What that means is that an agreement was reached between the Allied and the Axis powers to stop fighting. The guns on the Western front go quiet. Now, there is no official treaty, though, on November 11th, 1918. That official treaty, it's going to be conquered up now more during the Paris Peace Conference that takes place on January 18th, 1919. The Allied powers that won, they are victorious, are going to meet with the defeated Central Powers. At this Paris Peace Conference, it is set up to set peace terms for the defeated Central Powers. They're going to produce 5 treaties, one which will notably be the Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles is signed by Germany and the Allies on June 28, 1919, formally ending World War I. This treaty required Germany to pay financial reparations, to lose territory, and give up all their overseas territories, their overseas colonies, as well as disarm their military. The Treaty of Versailles makes Germany take full blame for World War I, which will then go into what we will see with World War II.